So let's talk about my first loss in real estate. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techman Solutions. I've been sharing my kind of just progression with my business partner, Nick Polendino, flipping houses in the Arizona market. So we began flipping houses as a hobby. It was just pretty much a side hustle to keep Nick busy and for me to kind of diversify, right? I've been into rental properties, but never really into flipping. Just so you have a little bit of a backstory. We started right before the pandemic, perfect time, right? Properties began to take off with the power of social media. We began to buy properties through our followers. We did partnerships through our followers. We would buy their properties. They would find us deals. We would do rev splits with them. It was a beautiful thing. It's still a beautiful thing. It's just more challenging. And this time we took a loss. I mean, that's that's really just it. So like obviously we've had an amazing streak. I feel like we've flipped over 40 properties altogether, and for this to be my first loss, and it's literally not very much, right? I'm so grateful for being in a position where I welcome failure. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but it's why we are where we are. It's because we fail fast and we fail forward. So I'm going to be sharing the raw numbers. I'm going to explain to you what kind of changed and maybe steps on what you can take to kind of avoid this. So I'm literally my Excel sheet that Nick created. He does one of these for every flip that we do. So just for some discretion, we call this the 3302 Phoenix flip. So my purchase date, or our purchase date, is June 13th, 2022, right? So we purchased it through 300,000 for 300,000. For those that are unaware, we actually bought this through a social media lead, is what we call. So we paid a finder's fee of $2,400. Someone just sent me a message like, "Hey man, I know someone interested in selling their house." We either do one of two things. We either do a rev split with them, or we split the profits. They don't put any money. I put up all the money, but you kind of take the risk with us if you want some equity in the net profit, or you just take your finder's fee. So good job for this guy taking his finder's fee. He made $2,400 profit. We paid him off right away, and we took on the project, right? Going in overall, total cost to close, including what's it called, the finder's fees. So we're in it for $302,938. Renovation budget, our budget was pretty conservative. It was a very light budget. It was $16,000, and estimated ARV originally it was not 350. Original ARV was around 360 to 375. You got to understand, this was back in June. I mean, things were bad, but they weren't that bad. When it came down to overall renovations, we did fine. I mean, our expected renovations was $1,600. We spent $2,100. So we definitely went above budget, but it wasn't anything crazy, right? It wasn't like, oh my God, we're double across or double what we expected. So we've had a recent project in California that is more than double of what we expected. So maybe I'll make a video on that, right? But we spent $2,100 on that. Holding costs, for those that are unaware, I don't take out hard money loans, right? So I pay for everything myself. That's my value that I bring to my partnership with Nick. So we source deals through my Instagram and through social media and through the different connections we have through wholesalers here in the Arizona area. But also, I put up the money, right? Nick's part is he's pretty much the project manager. He's a hands-on person. He doesn't do any of the work himself, but he oversees the project, and he's also the real estate agent. So his commission is just 1% instead of 2.5%. So that's according to his brokerage. Lowest standard is that 1%. So we don't have that holding cost. If we did have holding costs for hard money loans, I mean, who knows, right? We had it for a total of 3 to 4 months. Our holding costs could have been at that rate. We could have lost an additional like $12,000, right? And this is what we're hearing a lot from a lot of flippers is they take out hard money loans. And it's a great way, right? You leverage other people's money. But in situations like this where properties are sitting on market a little bit longer, you kind of get into hot water where like every day matters, right? So we don't incur any of that, but I wanted to disclose that because that would be a very common fee or expense with holding costs. Hard money fees, they're anywhere from 10 to 15% that a lot of house flippers would incur. So I just want to disclose that. Insurance, water, electric, pretty basic. Total holding cost $1,018, actually pretty low, right? Total expenses, renovation $21,055, holding cost $1,018, purchase price was $302, almost $303, right? Closing costs, this is where it hurts. $24,000. So I posted it on my Instagram. We ended up selling for $345,000. That's what we closed on, right? There was also some seller concessions, stuff like that. It's just a bunch of BS. But nonetheless, it's 349, so $349,273 is what was our all-in. So it's every dollar that I put into it, this is what it was. But because of closing costs, again, it just brought us down to a net loss of $4,273, a total of 105 days, so a little bit over 3 months for this project, losing on average of $41 a day. We just do that for fun to have a better understanding of what we make per day and what we lose per day, depending on, hey, we took a loss. So again, closing costs, this is something that maybe not a lot of people take into consideration. Normally you want to take around like 5%, at least here in the Arizona area, 2.5% for the seller. I guess you might have to do more because you might not have a business partner that reduces their commission. So normally it's 2.5% for the seller agent, 2.5% for the buying agent, and then maybe 1% for, just title fees and stuff like that. So maybe 6% is industry standard to take into consideration for closing costs. I normally estimate 5% because Nick takes reduced commission, but it's still a hefty amount, $24,000. Like, shoot, if we didn't have this, then if we didn't incur this expense, we would have walked away with $20,000 net, which would have been great. But it is what it is. This property, for those that are unaware, this property was actually the property that kept getting broken into. So we spent more on appliances, about $1,000 more, and yeah, what changed? So, our ARV was 365 to 375 originally. Then it changed to 350. It's very simple. It's, the days on market. Days on market right now, at least in my area, are above 40. And a year ago, the average days on market, look in your area, was probably less than 10, right? The average days on market back then, it was like 10 days on average. Now it's 4 times that. So it's more difficult to sell a house. Interest rates are at the highest that they've been since 2008. I think the average interest rate for a mortgage, for a 30-year mortgage, is around like 6.59%. That's like almost 50% more expensive because interest rates are front-loaded when it comes down to mortgage rates. So you would almost have to get a property $150,000 cheaper if you bought a $500,000 house today versus a year ago, just to make up the difference in the mortgage payment. So your mortgage payment right now for a $500,000 house would be roughly around $3,000 at $500,000 at 6%. And a year ago at 3%, your mortgage payment would have been around $2,000. So it's a huge increase, right? It's nearly a 50% increase just because of an additional 3% interest rate. And again, it's all because it's front loaded. So it's less attractive, right? It's less affordable to be able to take out a mortgage. So this is why we're seeing a slowdown. And as long as interest rates continue to rise, then we're going to see this shift from seller's market to buyer's market. But even though I'm a house flipper, I respect it, I understand it. I think difficult times create strong men, and that's what I'm here to embrace. So I'm all for the challenging times. I know me and my business partner Nick Palladino are not looking to stop flipping. We're just choosing to be more selective. So I wanted to offer you guys this. I wanted to see if you guys were interested. So if you've been in the market for potentially maybe selling your house, but you don't want to put the money into your property that it might take to renovate it, I would love to renovate the property for you, and I won't charge you anything, right? So like, let's say your property is worth $500,000, but you know that if you were to renovate it and maybe put $50,000, it could sell for $600,000. So in a perfect world, that would be an additional $50,000 net that you can make. But maybe you don't want to take the risk of putting $50,000 into it for whatever reason, right? Maybe you don't have the cash or you just don't want to take the risk, especially with current market conditions. That's where my team comes in. I want you to send me a direct message right now. Don't send me a direct message, but linked down below is Nick Palladino's Instagram. It's in the description of this video. Send him a direct message. You have to be in the Arizona area and you have to be willing to sell your house. I want to understand what your house is currently worth and what you think that it will be worth once it's fully renovated. I will pay for all the renovations, zero out of pocket for you, as long as you're willing to split whatever the difference of the net profits are. So, if your house is worth $500,000 and then we sell it for $600,000 and I put $50,000 into it, then we just split that $50,000 because $500,000, which is what it's currently worth, $50,000 from what I put into it, and then selling it at $600,000, there's a $50,000 net margin. You make an additional $25,000, I make $25,000, and you added no additional risk. If we sell it for $550,000, then I make nothing and you still walk away with selling your property, move-in ready, right? So again, if you're in the Arizona area, we'd love to try out this model. I know that it's going to be somewhat difficult maybe if you don't know really how this all works. But you have to be willing to sell, and as long as you can trust us in renovating your property, we will even take care of listing the property for you. So again, just send my business partner, Nick Palladino, a direct message. What you think your house is worth, what you think that it could sell for, and how much you think it would cost to renovate it. And let's flip that house. So I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. And again, it's a difficult time. We are seeing properties sit on market for a little bit longer. This shouldn't scare you. This should just encourage you to be more selective. Opportunity is still out there. There's still margin to be made. It's those that seek that find, right? So that's what I'm most excited about. So I appreciate your time. Your time. Hope that I earned a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram. That's all linked down below. And we will see you guys on the next video. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.